Can I explain the differences between Exalted and D&D? Well, not all in one video, but I'll give it a shot. First, let's talk about systems. D&D uses the D20 system. You roll one D20, it has to be over a certain number. Exalted uses the D10 or storyteller system, where to do a check, you roll a bunch of D10. The better you are at it, the more D10s you roll. And you don't add them up, you just look at every dice that is above a certain number. And if you get past that number, you call that a success. And the more successes you roll, the better you do. One of the major things that sets Exalted apart from D&D is the stunt system. So in D&D, doing crazy things in combat, or just altogether, is harder than doing normal stuff. So let's say you're in combat. If you want to, say, swing off a chandelier and come down with a strike that hits someone in the back, that's going to be harder for you to do in D&D. You're going to have to roll athletics checks, so on and so forth. In Exalted, doing something cool gives you more dice to roll. In fact, you can mimic certain special powers and spells just by doing a cool thing. So D&D's system kind of pushes you to do as little as possible in order to make it mathematically efficient. The safest thing you can do is say, I run up and hit the guy. In Exalted, it's most mathematically efficient to do something really cool and flashy, something really anime bullshit. That will always be more powerful than saying, I just run up and hit the guy. In addition, doing stunts and other cool things in combat basically restores your essence. Essence is kind of like your MP. You still get it back on a full res, like D&D, but again, being awesome, role-playing well will restore it as well. Then, of course, there's the world building, which I absolutely love. It's way too much to get into in one video, but if you want me to do a whole video covering it, just let me know, or watch Radio Free Will's channel. But in short, in Exalted, your powers come from great iconic ideas like the sun, the moon, death, fate. The only problem is, you're a little broken. The more you use your powers, the more you act like an impulsive anime douchebag, to the detriment of everyone else around you. It takes place in creation in an early age, which is basically the only formed mass of land and ideas in a sea of just boundless chaos. And it's just, the world is just so interesting. There's too much to say here. Finally, combat. One of the things that I really like about Exalted is that there are systems for both social and physical combat. So it's not like the combat monkeys get to do everything during combat and the social characters kind of sit back and do nothing. Everybody has a point where they get to be the cool guy. The ebb and flow of combat is really cool because you basically have these two types of attacks you can perform. You can perform a withering attack, which basically raises your power, but deals no damage. Or you could do a decisive attack, which cashes in that power for damage. It's a little bit like the Final Fantasy Dissidia combat system, if you're familiar. And it really does a lot to mimic the sort of anime back and forth struggle before someone strikes a decisive blow feel. So yeah, I absolutely love it. It's probably my favorite role-playing game. And I really, really, really want to run it again.